An agreement between two airlines could see an influx of French tourists into Barbados. Assurances that the unsafe Del Monte products have been removed from local supermarket shelves. And coming up in sports, the Barbados Pride pulls off a miraculous come-from-behind win over the Jamaica Scorpions.
Credible, balanced, committed. This is the CBC Evening News.
Good evening, I'm Shane Jones, leading the news at 7. A new code share agreement could mean a significant boost in the numbers of French tourists to Barbados. This from Minister of Tourism and International Transport, Carrie Simmons. The minister revealed that yesterday an agreement was approved with two French airlines which operate in the Caribbean, Air Antilles and Air Caribe. He says this will mean greater connectivity between France and Barbados.
We will be able, via Air Caribe, to have Air Caribe bring people from France or from Europe out of southern Europe, France, into Martinique, and then they connect from Martinique onto Barbados via Air Antilles Express. The issue here is the connectivity. The issue here is yet another way of getting more European visitors into Barbados.
The tourism minister was speaking at the official reopening of the newly refurbished Sunbury Great House. Minister Simmons says his ministry is working very hard to draw more visitors from various markets. He says at this time they are focusing on Europe.
I am not entirely sure that our current direct flights out of Europe or flight out of Europe is the best possible deal that we can have, but in a little while I'm going to be able to say a few more things about that. I believe Barbados, to cut a long story short, should be in a position where we can have greater connectivity out of Europe, and we must also be able to have the most powerful muscle behind our marketing campaign as a partner with us.
Well, the reopening of Sunbury Great House is being hailed as a prime example of the benefits of the public-private partnership. Our Lorna Jones was there as the ribbon was cut.
After extensive renovations over a 7-month period, Sunbury Great House has officially been reopened. Minister of Tourism and International Transport, Carrie Simmons, described the 358-year-old property as an important part of Barbados' tourism product. He says it fits right in with the island's increasing focus on heritage, culture, and rum.
In the same way as you can't go to Florida without hearing about Mickey Mouse, you can't come to Barbados without hearing about rum. In the same way you can't go to England without hearing about the Westminster system of government. You must not be able to come to Barbados without experiencing the story and the history and the heritage and all of the antiquity associated with the development of the rum industry.
The property was purchased in 2017 by Martin Ince of Foster & Ince Cruise Services. Minister Simmons lauded the company for its contribution in building out Barbados' tourism product. He says all sectors of business should get involved.
And what therefore we are going to be asking of you from 2019 onwards, when government, because of the necessity of the economic times, because of the difficulties and challenges that we have, when government recedes increasingly from being the sponsor of the marketing effort in tourism, and recedes from being the sponsor of all of the things that we have historically known government to be doing in tourism, and then comes to rely on you in the private sector and private individuals to use your initiative, your capital, your connections, your influence to help build out Barbados' tourism product. We ask you to reflect on how best you might be able to contribute.
Meanwhile, Mr. Ince pledged to continue investing in Barbados and encourage others to do the same.
I'm also reaching out to all other companies in Barbados at this specific time, in whatever field you're in, to look to the future with renewed enthusiasm and excitement, and expand your business in Barbados and further afield, looking for new initiatives and new business ideas.
Following the official ribbon cutting, the minister and other officials were given the grand tour of the property. Lorna Jones, CBC News.
Thanks, Lorna. Well, we're hearing that government is moving full steam ahead with its IMF-sanctioned BERT program. Yesterday, a special BERT monitoring committee headed by Prime Minister Mia Amor Motley assembled at government headquarters in Bay Street for a closed-door session where individual members signed a memorandum of understanding on behalf of their respective groups. Prime Minister Motley and Chief Economic Counselor and lead negotiator with the IMF, Ambassador Dr. Clyde Maskell, signed on behalf of the Barbados government, while representatives of the Barbados Private Sector Association, the Barbados Creditors Group, and the Congress of Trade Unions and Staff Associations gave their signature of approval. Now, NUPW President Akani McDowell and General Secretary of the BWU, Senator Tony Moore, also signed the MOU. Officials say it is important that the plan be established as a domestic mechanism that monitors the performance of the government of Barbados with respect to its fiscal and macro targets under the Memorandum of Economic and Financial Policies agreed with the IMF. The spirit of love and charity filled the auditorium of the Derek Smith School and Vocational Center this afternoon when the Eden Lodge Youth Charitable Trust gave back to the vulnerable in the community yet again at their annual Christmas party. Scores of children from across the island were all smiles as they received early Christmas gifts from the trust. Representatives of donors from Amarone Charitable Trust, Ross University, Williams Industries, and Sandy Lane Charitable Trust were on hand to personally present the gifts to the children. The Haynesville Youth Club thrilled with a fantastic performance of drumming and dance. Minister of People Empowerment and Elder Affairs Cynthia Ford urged the children to be thankful.
I want you all to show an attitude of gratitude for whatever you receive. Whether you've had something like it before or not, you don't just dispose of it, throw it away. Give it to somebody else whom you know may be needier than you. And that is what the Bible speaks about. Loving one another, for love is of God, and giving and sharing and so on to make a difference in somebody else's life.
The Eden Lodge Youth Charitable Trust is in its 22nd year, and Minister of the Environment and National Beautification, Trevor Prescott, says its president, Dwayne Grisette, has done a tremendous job.
I am a beneficiary, and my people in St. Michael's also benefit from the work that he does. And I have served in a number of ministries and as consultant, and sometimes he gives me more service as a man working outside of government that I get from within the government itself. So, Dwayne, I want to thank you very much for the work that you're doing.
Minister of the Creative Economy, Culture and Sports, John King, underscored the full reach of the trust.
On a weekly basis, 200 persons benefit from the work you do through the provision of bus fares, foodstuff, payments of utilities, even housing arrangements, and more. With its primary focus being that of youth, the Eden Lodge Youth Charitable Trust has a back-to-school program unrivaled in its ability to deliver not only the basic school supplies needed for learning, but has, through private sector partnerships, been providing, and the Honorable Minister spoke about it, tablets, computers, and many other learning tools in a sustainable way for many years.
Young Trinity Clark brought a fitting end to the celebration. I wish you could watch that entire song. Well, Ethel Jeanette Small is preparing to experience her 100th Christmas Day as she became Barbados' newest centenarian. She was delighted to meet Governor General Dame Sandra Mason and had a pleasant conversation with her, full of chuckles and some full-fledged laughs. Dame Sandra says she hopes that if she reaches that milestone, she is still as mentally sharp as Miss Small. Well, one by one, family and friends expressed their love for Smalley, as she's affectionately known. Miss Small is the mother of 4 children, 14 grandchildren, and 4 great-grands. She has 75 nieces and nephews. The Hinesbury resident and former home help worker has a wonderful sense of humor.
I eat a little of everything. I make friends with everyone, so my friends who don't lose them, because I try to keep them and they keep me because they find something in me that they like. And that's about it so far. So good. And what happened to I accept the Lord, and my sisters and brothers at the church, they love me a lot, and I love them back, and I have not got out now for a few weeks very well, but they comes to see me, or somebody almost every day, somebody will call me or come see me.
Barbadians are being assured the Del Monte Fiesta corn products deemed unsafe by manufacturers have been removed from supermarket shelves across the island. Sunshine Industries Barbados Limited is the official distributor for Del Monte Foods locally. And Director David Gill says once his company learned of the voluntary recall 4 days ago, it moved swiftly to pull the Fiesta corn seasoned with red and green peppers.
With the diligent efforts of the Department of Commerce and Consumer Affairs, and the diligent efforts of alert retailers here in Barbados, and the hard-working customer service reps, all of the product has already been removed from the shelves in Barbados. So the public has nothing to fear. In other words, consumers in Barbados can purchase Del Monte foods with full confidence, and that is something that we should be glad about.
Mr. Gill says the Fiesta corn is only available in the 15.25 ounces can. Del Monte warned consumers that the products had not been properly sterilized, and consuming them could cause life-threatening illness. At the time of this interview, Mr. Gill said no one had returned any of the products, nor was he aware of anyone in Barbados nor the U.S. who had become sick.
The limited recall has to do with a narrow band of best before dates, best if used by dates, in August and September of 2021. Just some dates in August and September 2021. Now, if consumers have any of these best if used by dates of August and September 2021, they can safely bring them to Sunshine Industries in the Canewood Industrial Park, St. Michael, and there they will receive a replacement or a refund if they wish.
The Department of Commerce and Consumer Affairs will make sure the recalled products are collected and safely disposed of. Government is moving ahead with plans to achieve its target of 100% renewable energy by the year 2030. Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Energy and Water Resources, Jehu Wilshire, says it's no secret the ministry is experiencing very challenging times. However, he's confident the targets set by the ministry for the coming year will be achieved.
We are currently in the process of revising the national energy policy. We're in the process of revising the energy roadmap. We're also in the process of drafting an implementation plan, because what we intend to do within the next 11 or so years is to have 100% renewable energy and carbon neutral economy by 2030. There are some persons who have indicated that it cannot be attained, that is not possible, but I can assure you we are committed to this task and we are going to reach that target.
Mr. Wilshire was addressing board members and staff during a joint Christmas luncheon for the Division of Energy and Water Resources. He says steps are also being taken to avoid any reoccurrence of the shortage of natural gas. Chairman of the Barbados National Oil Company, Alex McDonald, says even as the country moves towards 100% renewable energy, there can be no future without the BNOCL.
As an island, we are locked into an energy answer. Unfortunately for all of us, we are in that. We are on the cutting edge of where the future lies. There is great talk of the renewables, but the fact is that we do have oil. The fact is we do have gas. The fact is that we are going to play our part in all of those spheres.